This
Peace and
conference will now be recorded.
blessings. Peace and blessings, family. This is phase two, class three. We're gonna get into. I'm basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna build the structure up from ground, from zero to what I'm saying, Z. Just so you guys can see it because I know phase one was half of the leg. I wanted y'all to get familiar with completing that leg and parenting that leg to the body. Um, Class two was you guys doing the Bezier circles, because that is going to be the way that the the structure is going to be either walking or skating. I don't know if I want it to be walking or skating right now, but we're going to figure it out in phase four. I mean, not phase four, but class four. So I'm just going to go ahead and get right into it. Like I said, I'm going to take breaks throughout this class three, but I am going to just run through entirely the four-legged process and the direction control. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started on this. I already got the plane, so you guys should already know how to put the plane on here. But if you don't, I can just do this right here. I can just delete it and start from scratch. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to merge the vertices at the center. I'm going to do 4 centimeters like so. Uh, put skin on that thing. Everything that I'm doing, you guys should already know how to do. So that's why I'm kind of breezing through this part. Make sure you make this a little bit pointy, but not too pointy, something like that. At the end, don't make it too wide either. Mm, I think that it's too fat. That should be fine. Let me just make sure I'm recording and you guys can see my screen. Okay, cool. You guys can see my screen now. All right. Huh? Yes. Yeah, give me a second.
This conference will now be recorded.
I hope that didn't. Dang. I think might have to do that again. Okay, you guys, I just kind of messed up. I made 4 bones instead of two when I paused this video. So what I'm gonna do is start from scratch over here, or let me see. Let me just deselect. I'm surprised it doesn't allow me to hide this or delete it. Nope, doesn't let me do anything. So I'm gonna just be starting from scratch again, y'all. All right. Shift A, mesh, plane, edit mode, merge at center, EZ, about 4 centimeters long, modifier, skin. Probably looks weird to y'all because it's on that mode instead of this one. Okay. Control A. Control A. All right. Now, subdivide, only 2 cuts, boom, tab, create armature. All right. So since we now have created the armature, we can go right. We can go ahead and make this.
This conference will now be recorded.
The next step will be to do pose mode. Select the top pose. Go to inverse connects to add that empty object there. F2, so that's our IK target. All right. Matter of fact, I was supposed to be, let me go back to object mode real quick. Highlight this leg, F2, name that leg. Now, when you press G, you should be able to move this around like so, okay? What I want to do is get a different view of it. Let's try the x-axis. All right. So this needs to be at a 45-degree angle, you guys. So what I'm going to do is going to select the entire armature and press G. So you guys can see what I'm talking about. It's limited to just this area. I want it to be a little bit more wider as far as the space. So I'm going to hit R, Control. I'm going to roll this up to about 45 degrees. Press Enter, G. Now it can go around in a circle, okay, you guys? All right, cool. So I'm gonna give you guys some time to do that real quick. You guys should already know how to do this pretty good on your own. Yep. I'm gonna leave this up here because now I'm going to add my body. I'm gonna put this on the Z-axis. So Z-axis is GZ. Uh-oh. Battery look like it's dying. Give me 1 second.
This conference will now be recorded.
Now make sure that the leg is not looking like this, y'all. So be mindful. This is a 3D viewport, okay? So just highlight this leg, move it over into the body. Look at all different angles to make sure that it does not look crazy. Sometimes you won't even know that it's looking crazy. Select the IK target, move that around if need be. Take a look at it in all angles again. I think it's too far in there, so I'm going to pull it out a little bit. I'm going there just a little bit. All right, now hold shift, select the body, object, parent, object, boom. Now your leg is connected to the body. If you move G, your leg will move right around with the body, okay, like so. And just make sure when you move the body around that your leg is not sticking out, it's not looking crazy. All right, cool. So that's a very important step, is parenting that leg to that body, because at the end it's going to be really important once we get this thing to start having some type of movement. Okay. So on the last video, you guys only did the one leg, but now I am going to basically to ask you guys to highlight this leg, press Shift D, and make an entirely new leg. Okay. Let's do R for rotate. Nah, because that might this might be confusing to some of you guys. So let me just delete that. All right. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna look at it from this angle. Move this over slightly. Highlight all of this again. Shift D. It's gonna be parented to the body, right? Let me see RZ. There we go. If you select RZ, this will turn it on the Z axis. You're basically just going to have to play around with these legs to the best of your ability to parent these duplicates to the body. Okay. And this doesn't have to look perfect, by the way. It's meant to look creature-ish, a little distorted, if that makes sense. Not super asymmetrical and parallel and all that good stuff. You know, make it look how you want it to look. Make it look cool. So we have leg 2 that looks good for me. I could bring it down a little bit more. Okay, cool. So you want to highlight, Shift D, object, parent, boom. All right. So we're going to do that for each leg that we're creating. Okay, you guys. So Shift D is duplicate. Uh, I hit RZ to move it on the Z axis while rotating. Ooh, that's a little bit too far in. Let me see how that looks. It's too close. You see, okay, I want to see if you guys see what I'm saying. So right here, you see how this is kind of sticking out in a slanted angle. I want this to be on the x-axis. So highlight this. Uh-oh. Like I said, you want to look around all these angles to make sure your figure is looking pretty decent. Okay, now we are going to do this one last time with the Shift D. Let me put that back, actually. Control Z is undo. Control Z is undo. I need to zoom in on this real quick, get a better view, because it's making this Shift D, object, parent. I So all of these should be parented. Last thing we're going to do is copy Shift D, enter. Easy. Oh, that's perfect. Let me unhighlight it, make sure I'm looking at this correctly. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So what I'm going to do is parent that leg. Boom. So you see that? Boom, 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 boom. Okay, cool. So they're all parented to the body. They're all parented to the body. I'm going to move some of these IK targets on their axis, which this axis is the red axis, which is GX. This axis is the Y axis, which should be GY. Okay, so do that all around. GX. GY. Boom. Let's zoom out. Let's shade it in. Non-toggle here. Now, let's see if this looks good for your perspective, for your eyeballs. If not, switch some things around. Looks pretty good to me. Looks pretty good to me. Except for that should be fine. So now we're going to put it back on X-ray mode. I'm going to look from the top to make sure everything is cool. Okay, good. So we're going to take it back off the X-ray mode, and now we're going to be adding Shift A, the icospheres. Okay, so you want to change this number down here to 4. You want to right click, shade smooth, G. You want to place these as the joints, resize them. You guys should already know this information. Zoom in if you need a better looking point. So I'm going to just Shift B again, make another one. Move it around like so. And I'm going to Shift B again, place it here. Smooth that up a little bit. Shift B. Shift D. Bring that one over here. All right, that looks good to me. This kind of looks a little funky, so I'm gonna fix that. That looks better. This one looks a little funky. Now, the more you look at it, the more you'll see like what looks good, what doesn't, what needs to be, you know, turned, maybe switched over. You know what I mean? Put this back on cursor. Now, this is just teaching you guys how to build these manually, okay? Always look at all your angles when you're doing these things. When did you get outside?
Been outside.
I thought I heard JoJo. He outside?
No, he's not.
Heard somebody say get some popcorn. Sorry about that, family. Just making sure this kind of looks good for my eyes. Let's look at it from the Z angle. Looks good to me. All right, now we can move on to the Bezier circles. I'm going to kind of zoom out a little bit. So what we're going to do is hit Shift A, curve, circle. We're going to hit GX because we're going to do the X-axis first. We're going to move this over. We're going to hit R to rotate to a 90-degree angle. Enter G. Slide that over to their IK target there. Boom. Let's zoom in. Have the screen down a little bit. We're going to go back to edit mode. We're going to highlight these 2 points. We're going to go to control points. Set handle, vector. I'm going to highlight these 2 in the top. Press S. Smooth them out a little bit. Go outward. Hit the bottom. Tab. We're going to hit GZ. Move this up. Boom. Now we have our half of our Bezier circle for our IK target on the X-axis. Now, what I did forget to do was to parent the joint with the body. Okay, so let's go back to object mode. Let's hit the joint, Shift A. Now we're going to do that to all of those joints. Shift A, hit the body, object, parent, so on and so forth, right? One more. Okay, so now you have everything attached to the main frame, which is the body. We're going to hit F2 and name this body, right? Okie dokie. Now, back to the Bezier circles. We're going to go ahead and zoom right on in here. I'm going to let you guys go ahead and get that together.
This conference will now be recorded.
So you're going to hit your IK target. You're going to go down here to what looks like the, what is those called? A scope, the scopes that you look at, but this is called the object constraint properties. Okay, we're going to hit the drop down button. We're going to hit follow path. Okay, we're going to make our target the Bezier circle. You want to hit object. You want to hit clear location so it can come back. Right? Then you want to go down here to your keyframes. You want to start at 10. Uh-oh. And then you're going to hit a new keyframe in there. You're going to ride this to 30. You're going to hit 100 and add that keyframe in there. Animate path, enter. So now you have your walking path. That's stretching out a little bit too much for me. So I'm going to move this in. I'm going to kind of resize it a little. Bring it right in here like that. Cool. I'm going to hit space. I'm going to hit back the IK target. I'm going to come down here and hit Shift E. I'm going to hit linear extrapolation because this is going to make this continue on and on and on without you having to go back and add any more keyframes. All right. My legs looks a little funky to me and I don't like it. You see how it's going down below? I don't want that. So I'm going to highlight this. Uh-oh. I'm going to just highlight this leg. G. That works better for me. So again, always go back and edit, fix. If you don't like something, if it does not look right to you. See, look, now it's on the side of the dang going thing of the body of the joint. Okay. All right, that looks better to me. I am going to bring this back over here. I don't know how I got right there. There we go. No, I like that better. So you want to do this to all 4 points manually. I'm doing everything manually so you guys will know how to do it before getting to like shortcuts, because sometimes with a lot of different structures that you're building, some of the shortcuts will mess up your 3D structure. So you have to kind of be careful with using the shortcuts when you're beginning. You want to do everything manually and one by one, if that makes sense. Like how we did each leg one by one, we made each joint by one by one, and we parented each object one by one, right? Along with the only thing we shortcutted was the actual duplication of each leg, because then we would have to, do that process over and over and over again, resizing and all that good stuff. So we want to keep it simple, but also keep it manual for it to make sense to beginners, because this is a basic beginners 3D animation. Okay, basic. Some people might not even consider this basic because the end result of what we're going to be doing. But for me, this is basic based on what I have seen others create in Blender. Okay. So I want to move this just a little bit. See, it looked like it's stretching when I did that, so I'm going to just pull it back. Cool. So I'm going to give you guys some time to go ahead and create all 4 of those. And remember, when you're creating them, create them along these different axes, GX and GY, okay? For right now, until you guys get familiar. All right. I know that this is going to look a little off of, you see how that's leaning forward? I don't want that to be leaning forward. So what I'm going to do is undo what I just did, because looking from this angle is still slanted, right? So Control Z, Control Z. All right, now let's go back to rotate. That looks like it's a little bit better, right? Now it's still like sideways a little bit. All right. S, resize, Shift, Control, GZ, move up. Now that looks way better, okay? All right, now let's zoom out of here. So we got our one leg walking. Now it's time to make this one go the same way. Hit that IK target, tab out of that mode, IK target, object constraint, follow path, target, Bezier circle, object clear, location, back to this viewpoint, go to 10 keys, add that, slide that over to 30, place 100 there, add that keyframe, go down here, Shift E, linear exfoliation. Now we have 2 walking legs. Looks good to me. Okay, we're creating a creature. So again, do it to your liking. If you want the creature to skate instead of walk, kind of like, you know how my look at the mouse key. If you want it to be doing something like this and like skating along, like a little ice skating spider, you can actually make this skate as well. I probably will show you that near the end. If I change my mind about the walking paths, I'll create skating paths and some type of distorted 3D creature skating and shaking and shit. It might got the COVID. Goddamn. I hope this is making sense to you guys. So far, complete that again with these 2 IK targets, and we will be back.
This conference will now be recorded.
So I have now made all of the legs walk on their different axes. Hopefully your model looks something like this. If it looks better, great. If it doesn't quite look like this, still great, because this is beginner's class. This is the basic, but as long as you have some type of movement with all 4 legs, that is totally fine. Okay. Let me just move this up to where I can see. And pause it for a second. Now I'm going to make all of these legs move within the same direction, and I'm going to briefly show you guys how to do that.
This conference will now be recorded.
So I'm going to undo what I just did so I can show you guys how I got 3 of these walking on the same paths. Hit Control Z, Z. I'm going to go back to the cursor, and all you're going to do is go to Object, Set Origin, Origin to Geometry, and you are going to hit Alt R, and these 2 will be face down. So undo that, highlight one of the circles, hit R, and then you're going to get your transform. You're going to hit the red button, hit that at an angle. You're going to look at it from a different perspective and say, okay, it's still not right. Now, I have no clue why these lay flat like this. When I try to set origins all to the same axes so they can walk on the same paths. Like I said, some of this stuff you just have to do manually. And so boom, now we have that leg walking on the same axis. I'm going to zoom out a bit, go around, because you remember when I said I might have it skating? This is what it would be looking like. So it would be like a little disco spider you know, shaking things up in the augmented reality world. But just so in case, you know, anybody wants this figure to walk, just do that same editing format. Use the red button, then use the blue button, turn it around. Boom. Now it's walking on the same path, okay? You see that? Let me zoom out. Boom. Looks good so far. All right, now we're going to move on to the next portion of this video. Hit your cursor. That looks a little funky up there like that. But hit your cursor and I will pause and come right back.
This conference will now be recorded.
Now I want you to select your back IK target and your front IK target, which is shift. And I want you to come down here to your keyframes. Set this on the 20, press A down here, then press G to move this 10 frames up, which would be to 40. Now zoom out, turn this around so you can see what it's doing. And now they're walking on different time frames, okay? So it kind of looks organic, right? And like I said, if you want your legs to be wacky, if you want them to be super like on beat, that is solely up to you. Like I said, I wanted to kind of like a distorted look, what do you call it? I don't want to say handicap child, but I wanted like a distorted look as far as my spider goes, okay? I know you're like, spiders have 8 legs. This is a 4-legged creature, okay? So, my back leg is pushing up towards the other 3 legs because that is how I designed my leg to do. You guys, all your legs should be going in the same direction. If not, please pause and, you know, Control Z, undo some things and kind of figure it out, because that is the only way you're going to be able to maneuver in Blender, is you figuring it out for yourself. It might get frustrating a little bit, but you'll be fine. I promise you. If I can do it, everybody in this group can do it, right? So I'm gonna pause that.
This conference will now be recorded.
I'm just gonna undo what I just did. Boom, boom, boom. All right. So now we're gonna highlight all the Bezier circles. That is shift, click, shift, click, shift, click. We're gonna go up here. We're gonna set these to individual origins. We're gonna press play. We're gonna hit RZ. And now we have a way for all of the legs to be moved in a different direction. Okay, guys? You see that? Yours should be looking just like this. Just like so. Right? So if you didn't get it on the first try, Control Z, undo it again, undo it, and then try again, okay?
This conference will now be recorded.
So now we're going to do Shift A. We are going to be adding an empty object, a spear. We're going to then right click. I'm going to adjust the size and we're going to scale this up. about so, like that. Okay, you guys. Press the space bar, zoom out. So this is called the direction controller. So we're going to hit F2. We're going to name this direction controller. And I know I've been moving kind of fast, you guys, but always rename your objects so you know exactly what you're clicking on. Because then in scene selection, you'll just have a whole bunch of stuff, right here, and you wouldn't even know what the heck is going on. So until you get familiar with it, keep these objects named, okay, you guys? So this will be the end of phase 3 and this will be the end of class 3 in phase 2. For class 4, we're going to be getting into the direction movement and creating noise within the body. I cannot wait. I hope you guys are ready. This was supposed to be a live class, but I didn't see that much activity in the chat today, so I figured you guys were busy. It is a Sunday evening, and I know a lot of you guys are probably with your family members and cooking some good old food. So I will be back next week with class 4. Peace and blessings, and stay tuned.